Hi everyone, my name is Ryan, and in this lesson I'll be showing you how to create the minimum required structure that you'll need to produce a website. So firstly we'll look at line 1 of the code that I have in front of me, and this is what we call a doc type or document type. It defines the version of HTML that will be used on your page. And currently I have the version 5 doc type here, which is the latest version at the time of recording this video. The older versions have longer doc types. I'll show you a couple of these. If I go to a website called w3schools.com, it's a very nice user-friendly site which shows us all the tags that are used within HTML and CSS and various other web technologies. So I'll go to the reference menu and have a look at the HTML tag reference, and here's an alphabetical list of all the different tags we have in HTML. And if I go to the doc type tag, I will see exactly what it's used for and the different types that we have available. So here's the HTML5, here's the HTML4 doc type. And you'll see the difference is quite significant. HTML4 had a much longer doc type, and there were different versions of it. There was the strict version of it and the loose version of it. And the strict version basically said that you could only use version 4 tags within the document, and the loose version said, well, you could use version 4, but you could also use version 3 as well. So depending on the doc type you use, the browser will know which tags are legal and which tags are not legal within your document. The one that I suggest you use now is the latest version of HTML5, and that's also the shortest doc type, so it's one that you can quite easily learn off by heart. If you do not supply doc type in your document, the browsers will not know which version of HTML to expect, and so we'll try and use a mode called quirks mode, which means they will simply attempt to guess the version of HTML that you're using. This becomes very unpredictable, and some browsers land up doing one thing and some browsers another thing. So it's always advisable to make sure you have your doc type as the very first line of code in every single subpage of your site. Okay, then moving on, part of the doc type has the root element that will be used throughout the document. So in this case it is HTML. So what is the root element? Well, the root element is essentially your governing element over all the other elements within the document. When I talk about an element, I'm actually talking about an HTML tag. So the HTML element and the HTML tag are synonymous. Here is the opening HTML element, and here is the closing HTML element. Can you see that all the rest of the code is between those two elements? And that is what the root element is. So the doc type defines, first of all, what is the root element going to be, and then you'd put your root element in, and then the rest of the content goes between the root element. Next up, within the root element we have a head section and we have a body section. It's always good to have both of these. Your head section is normally the invisible content on the page, and the body section is normally the visible content on the page. Then within the head section we have various different tags, many of which are not listed here at this point in time. But in terms of your minimum required structure, this is what you should have. This meta tag is used to define the character set within the document. And meta just simply means data about data. So there are various different meta tags that one can get. This is simply just the character set meta tag. Notice that there is no closing tag for the meta tag. It's one of those exceptions to the rule. If I attempt to close it within brackets, it will actually give me a red tag indicating that it is not correct. Okay, so what does this character set do? Or what is the character set? Well, basically it's the set of characters that are used within the document. This is your alphabet, as it were. And many languages share the same set of characters. For example, most of the Western world use a character set called Latin 1, which is also known as ISO-8859-1. ISO is the International Standards Organization, and this number here just designates which particular character set is being used. So this would include the letters of the alphabet, the punctuation, the numbers, and even keys that are not on the keyboard. Certain letters with certain accents, the copyright symbol, and so on. Now, in China, they wouldn't use the same set of characters that we use in South Africa. So in China, they would use a character set known as Big Five, which is your basic Mandarin. And in France, they would use a different character set. And in Iraq, they would use a different character set. So depending on where you are in the world will depend on which character set you would use. There is, however, now a universal character set known as UTF-8, and this is the one we recommend that you use because it is a character set that includes the most basic character sets that you need from every different part of the world. So it's even got your basic Mandarin, basic Arabic characters, basic French, basic English, and so on. So this is a very good one to use if you don't know all the different things you're going to be having on your site, and it's also the most compatible across the world. Next up is your title, and the title is not strictly invisible because it actually does appear within the tab of the browser. So if I launch the live preview over here, this should open up a Google Chrome browser, and we can see what the document looks like so far. I'll just make it a bit smaller. And shortly we should have a preview. Okay, so here we have a preview, and you'll see that the title in the tab says document. If I change this to something else, let me just actually put the browser on top so that we can see what's happening here. I'll change this now to Ryan's site, and you'll notice that the title is changing and the title in the tab is changing. So this is the title of the document. The title of the document is also used within a Google search. So if I search for an elephant and a site comes up with an elephant, you'll see this title is known as Elephant Sanctuary Hartbeespoort Dam. If I click on that, it'll take me to their website, and you'll see that that title is also in the browser and in the tab of the browser. So the title is important because it's used for search engines as well as for just listing the title in the document. The body section of the site is used for the actual visible content of the site. So let's type some sample text in here. Notice that everything appeared in one line despite having typed it over several lines. And this is because the spacing is ignored within HTML. If we want to control the spacing, we would need paragraph tags. So the p tag in HTML is used as the tag to represent a paragraph of text. So let's say I wanted that first line in one paragraph and I end it there, and then my next line I want in another paragraph. So I'm just going to create 2 paragraphs. And when I'm finished, I will end off that last paragraph. Okay, so the way that we've typed it does not impact on the layout in the document. This is just simply so that I can more easily read my code. You'll see if I remove this blank line, nothing changes. I can even type this on the same line in the document, and according to the live preview, it's exactly the same. So if we wanted to, all of this code could be in one line and it would be exactly the same in the document. So the only reason we type it like this is to more easily visualize what's going on in the document. And then that is pretty much the end of this lesson, just to take you through the basics of the basic required elements needed on a page.